This is Brett Waltemath of Star Watch Media at the 21st Annual Hamptons International Film Festival. Pleasure to speak with you both. We're here at the 2013 Hamptons International Film Festival, and we're here for your screening of The Last Safari. Can you please tell us a little bit about the project?
Yeah. Well, The Last Safari is about Elizabeth L. Gilbert, who is standing before me, and she's a photographer, former war photographer, cum ethnographic photographer, published 2 books about the tribes of the Great Rift Valley. I followed her on sort of her final trip through the Great Rift Valley 10 years after her books were published to find out what's changed. She documented all these tribes and all their cultures have been vanishing for the past, for the past century. So these people are holding on to their culture while sort of embracing the modern world. And Liz is sort of caught in the middle of all that. And the movie, it's a documentary, but I tend to think of it as more of an adventure film. It's a pretty adventurous, crazy story. There's a lot of humor and heartbreak. It's like an emotional roller coaster. It's pretty much what happened.
How did you first meet Liz, and what was your experience like the first time that you went and got to experience what she does firsthand?
Very intense. I met her on a dirt tarmac in the middle of nowhere in Kenya, and she greeted me. And she was the second person I met. Was a white woman in the middle of Africa. Didn't make any sense to me, and I knew there was something going on there. And so I got to know her, and I actually saw her books at the lodge I stayed in. She disappeared, and I saw her books, and I was blown away by her photography. And then later, I reconnected with her on that trip, and realized that was her. And then we started talking, and then she told me about this dream she had of going back with these books, and I said, well, I want. And she said I wanted to hire someone to come along and film it, and then I convinced her that I was the guy to do it, and here we are.
Did you always see this as possible, your story and your journey possibly being in film one day?
I begged Matt not to put me in the movie. I didn't think it should be anything to do with me at all, and it was more than bringing the books back. I rented a cinema screen, and I presented slideshows in villages across the Rift Valley, over 2,000 kilometers, where I wanted to give people photography that they had never seen before. Most villages had never had a projection in the village, or many people had never even seen pictures of themselves, and I was interested in that. From a reflective point of view, as looking at the end of a body of work and a time in my life, and so that was really mine.
This is about to come out in theaters. What would you really like your audience to take away from the film and just this story?
Well, it's about something universal, and I think it's about, someone very kindly put it, if you've ever faced a hard decision, if you've ever hit a fork in the road, if you've ever had to make an important decision in the blink of an eye, this film is for you, and there are deep emotional things in the movie about letting go and change and the passage of time. I mean, all sorts of beautiful things, and there's poetry in that. So I think it would resonate with many people, I think.
Yeah.
And for you, sir, just what you'd really like the audience to take away from the film, and kind of your feelings before it comes out.
Well, I would like people to enjoy it. I really was hoping to create a piece of art or a piece of film that was also entertaining and that took people on a journey, and it's a reflective journey, like Liz said. So to make people think, and it sparks a lot of conversation. It sparks a lot of lively conversation. That's a good thing. I also find that my goal was to sort of show people a refreshing view of Africa, because there's a stigma of Africa films out there, and there's a lot of tragedy, a lot of horrid things that people make films about in Africa. This film is not about that. This film is actually presents Africa in a more positive light. Doesn't mean everything's great, but it's not about all the stuff that people tend to associate, especially in the West, with Africa. It tends to focus more on some beautiful things and some more subtle things that are not discussed as much.
Showing the audience a different side.
Yeah. We'd like to think of it as a refreshing take on it.
And I think we hope we took people somewhere they could never ordinarily go. I mean, it really is quite a road trip, and you're in the car with us through the whole thing, and nothing is. We present everything. I mean,
so it's on the road meets out of Africa. Basically.
Really interesting way to put it.
Wonderful thought of that, but it works.
Great, right on the fly.
It.
Other projects for you both, upcoming that we can see.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a narrative piece. I'm shooting in New Orleans actually in 2 weeks. It's a project with a couple of producers. It's actually an Edgar Allan Poe adaptation project. So we're packaging a couple directors. I'm one of the directors, and I wrote a script for one of them. So it's for The Cask of Amontillado is the one I'm doing. So that's happening right away. And then there's a few other things I'm trying to get cooking as well.
And for you, the possibility of another book in the future?
I'm traveling a museum exhibition of my photography, a mid-career retrospective, and I'm very focused on that right now, and hope that somehow the film and the museum exhibition can be seen together at one time and give people a really full 360-degree experience of what the photography was. And
for those that would like more information on your exhibition or on the film, where can they go?
To thelastSafariMovie.com and on Facebook and we're on all the social media and
we don't really
look at you.
We don't really tweet. We haven't figured out the tweet thing yet.
I'm still working on it.
I just don't get it. I'm like, you know what? You can come to Facebook. Even though I hate Facebook too, it works.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate the time.